Hi, my name is Jenny Ro. I'm a life scientist. I've been through multiple academic institutions throughout my career. Most recently, I was at Harvard Medical School doing my postdoc work. Today, I would like to share with you my thoughts on adoption of ELN in academia and why I became a big fan of RSpace.
Only 8% of academic scientists use an electronic lab notebook. If you're an academic researcher, this statistics probably does not surprise you, and you know why. We are a creature of habit that does not like to waste time in learning new tools just to do things that we already know how to do. In this case, note-taking. And most of us do not see a significant benefit to transitioning our habit from paper to electronic when it comes to lab notebook. And here's why. The short answer is paper notebook taking is an imperfect system that doesn't really jive with nonlinear research workflow, and simply replacing a paper notebook to an ELN does not solve this problem. If research was a linear process, it would be something like come up with an idea, test the idea, and make a conclusion and move on to the next idea. In reality, not only research involves parallel processing of multiple ideas at the same time on a daily basis, but also it's a constant iteration of revision and change of plans based on information in hand. Let that information be experimental results, the paper just came out, your colleague's comments, or your PI's request. So what goes into your notebook is basically a stream of consciousness in chronological order, and when it's time to write a manuscript or revisiting your old work, it requires a significant amount of time to mentally unbound the notes, grouping and reordering them into a logical and cohesive story, and rebounding the notes. Although an ELN still was an imperfect system, toward the end of my PhD, after filling up 9 paper notebooks, I decided to give ELN a try for 2 main reasons. First, I desperately needed a search function for my notebooks. And second, majority of my data were already in an electronic form, so why am I wasting my time printing out my Western blot images and scotch taping it to my paper notebook? By using a free notebook like OneNote or Evernote like everybody else, I was more or less accomplishing what I wanted initially from an ELN. But I still had one big remaining pain point. When I'm regrouping and reordering my notes to put together a manuscript or a presentation, I still had to rely on my memory to remember relationship among documents, which also made my old PI still contacting me after many years of graduation, asking me where he can find methods and results for experimental X, Y, and Z in my notebooks, even if I left it with him, because I'm still the only one who knows relationship among documents. While I was searching to find a better ELN solution for this problem, I ran into RSpace during my postdoc work at Harvard. I loved RSpace for 2 reasons. It was already integrated with tools that I used during my daily work, such as Dropbox, Mendeley, Slack, and Microsoft products, to name the few. And second, the smart metadata generation they had remembers how documents are related to each other. This meant no one has to rely on my memory to know the associations among documents, but Notebook does. Here are some of my favorite functions of RSpace. I was able to quickly upload all my protocol documents written in MS Words to RSpace, and here's an example of that. So the transitioning to this new product was very quick and easy for me. I use many shared equipments in the lab, and I used to bring a USB drive to transfer my data manually. Now I just save the files in my Dropbox folder from the equipment computer, then transfer the data directly to my notebook through RSpace Dropbox integration. And here's the example of that workflow. So I look for the file that I saved it from NanoDrop equipment and insert it into my RSpace notebook. Also, Slack is often used in the lab now as a project management tool to communicate with your teammates and file exchange. RSpace is integrated with Slack to use all the functionalities of Slack channels within RSpace interface. And here I am messaging my lab mate Pedro to look at my new data, and he and I have been collaborating on a same project. The most unique function of the RSpace, the automatic document ID generation and internal link, and this deserves some explanation. RSpace assigns a unique ID to document and gallery elements like images, and this allows users to internally link and track each other. For example, remember all the MS Word protocols that I uploaded earlier to RSpace? When I'm writing my notes, I don't have to repeat that protocol I used to generate my data. I simply create an internal link to the relevant protocol. What this means is that you'll have an ability to search documents by association. For example, if you were to find all the experiments that were carried out by using a certain protocol, you can find all of them by looking up linked documents to that particular protocol. In this example, I was looking for experiments that I had to perform RNA extraction and quickly navigate to the experiment notes that I wrote. This is not limited to just protocol linking. As I said, all documents and gallery elements receive unique ID. So you can link documents that contain preceding experiments, raw data, images showing results, and statistical tests while you are writing a new note. And when it's time to write your manuscript, you can quickly navigate and pull up documents that you are looking for. Imagine you can click on a figure you've generated for your manuscript, and just by one click, you can pull up protocol they use to conduct the experiment, as well as raw data you use to draw the graph, as well as statistical test. That's the future of electronic notebook taking for researchers, and this is why I chose RSpace as my solution. Thank you very much.